Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20 and welcome to episode 31 of Direwolf20's ServerPlay series. I made a couple cool spells with Sai today. Spent a little time off camera working on them because they're tricky and complex, but I got it working and I'm very thrilled with it. So check out what this spell does. First, we move the block that is at the raycast of my entity look and entity position, basically the block I'm looking at, and we move it vector negate my look vector of the caster. So basically that is the opposite direction of what I'm looking at. So it moves the block I'm looking at towards me. Then it moves the same block, but we do a vector sum of the block I'm looking at with y equals -1. So basically the block below the block I'm looking at moves along the same vector, a negate of what I'm looking at. So it moves both blocks close to me. Then we sleep for 5 ticks, which is about a quarter of a second. And then we do pretty much the same thing. We move the block that I'm looking at, and we do a cross product of the direction I'm looking at with y equals 1, so that'll pretty much get the direction to the left of me. And we move that block and the block below that. So, you want to see what it does? Check it out. You ready? Haha, cool, right? So basically, first move the block that I'm looking at and the block below it towards me, and then vector cross product of y1 means to the left of me, right? Nice. And then I made another door spell that is a little bit more complex because this assumes that I continue to look at the blocks that I'm moving, but this time I'm not because, well, we can do it like this. I'll even show you, right? So open door and then close door. Notice how I wasn't looking at the block on the second cast? That means we have to do a little bit more math. So the first thing we want to do is move block that I'm looking at and the block below what I'm looking at, vector cross product of my axial look, the direction I'm looking, with y equals 1. That's going to move it to the right. Before I was doing inverse of axial look. This time I'm doing just axial look. So that's why it's still y equals 1. Cool. And then 5 ticks later, we have to do a little bit more complexity. We get to move block, vector raycast of the block I'm looking at, so the direction I'm looking, with a sum of my position plus the vector cross product of the direction I'm looking. So basically, this is one block to the right of me, right? This little chunk. And this is a sum of my position plus one block to the right. So if I'm standing here, right, that vector cross product will make that the position, right? And then what we're doing is moving it axial look of the caster, right? So we're moving it forward, right, the direction I'm looking. And the same thing here, except we have to add the y-1 so we get the block below it. Cool? So that basically closes the door. It moves it to the right one, and then it grabs my position to the right one, finds the block in front of it, and moves it forward. What's that for? It's for my reactor room, of course. I wanted to have a neat little way to get in and out of my reactor room without blinking all the time, and now I have a way. Ta-da! Go do some work. All right, I'm ready to close the door. How cool is that? Oh, Sai is a lot of fun. It's tricky, but it's not that tricky. Like, trust me, guys. Like, you just start playing with it, and it'll click. It's like any other pseudo programming language, right? Like, I hesitate to say Sai is programming because people like to get complainy when I do programming. They don't like seeing programming for some reason. And did I leave my jump blink spell? I thought I had blink around here somewhere, but I must not have. So I should probably just go ahead and install a ladder. I mean, yeah, blink and all is fun, but ladders are useful. Where'd my blink spell go? I have a bunch of spells in here because I've been playing Smite, Move Block, Regen, Infuse. You know what? I might have destroyed my blink spell by mistake. That's what I did. Because I think I have 2 infuses in here, maybe. I don't know. But I have to remake my blink spell. And I did store these on spell drives, so that's cool. So I can always just delete them. And then we're going to just do blink. Target will be selector caster. And distance will be, I believe I was doing 7, right? Could I do 8? I can. I should upgrade my stuff, because I can get better things and stuff. There's better materials. There's a couple spells that we haven't even checked out yet. And we haven't even looked at Exosuit, which is cool stuff. But there's also materials that we haven't looked at yet. I believe they're listed in Greater Infuse, right? Where's Greater Infuse? Yeah. Trick Ebony and Ivy will infuse coal into ebony and nether quartz into ivory substance, both of which can be combined with a psi metal ingot to create respective alloys. These alloys can be used later to create a stronger CAD. Trick Ebony and Ivory can only be used while in the end. So we have to go to the end if we want to get Ebony and Ivory. So that's good to know. We may look at that. But now I should have Blink back. Hooray! Nice. We can get in and out of areas. As you can see, I did a little cleaning up down here. Not a huge amount. I think I've got a few more of these dudes. Oh yeah, let's open our door and go inside. Open door. Nice. And you can see I've just been kind of, as time allows, swapping out less time and more having spent filter materials. But I want to check out crystals today. And using them, I'm going to really enjoy doing that a lot. Using them to make lasers that can make this material even better. So strength, efficiency, these are all important things for lasers. So let's take a look at the laser system. Let's blink upstairs and see what we can find by way of our Deep Resonance book. There it is. Cool. So we want to look at making the lens and the laser, right? So that's the first step, making the things. With the laser and the lens, you can improve the quality of the liquid in the tank even more than what the purifier can do. So let me make those off camera and we'll come right back. All right, so laser and lens. Just one. Nice. Okay. Put away this stuff that I don't need at the moment. We're definitely going to want these things. I have 3 tanks left. I think that's sufficient for what I need to do, but you never know. We might need more tanks. I'll put away my diamonds and emeralds for now. I don't think I need them. Cool. Inventory management, guys. Let me tell you. It's always brutal. So I'm thinking I want to have the laser and the lens here. So let's look at the book and see what it tells us to do. The lens has to be placed on the tank and the laser facing the lens. You have the laser, one empty space, and then the lens, and finally the tank. Okay. So I'm thinking, right, we could have, like, let's see, there's the tank. So if I had a tank here, and I had the lens on the tank, you can only place this vertical. What's that mean? Oh. Okay, so it has to be on the side. Okay, that's not the end of the world. Now is the empty space. The lens has to be placed on the tank and the laser facing the lens. So you have the laser, one empty space, the lens, and then the tank. Okay, so that would be an empty space. So the laser would go here. That seems reasonable. Trying to keep things looking nice down here. Now, you do not connect. Well, there's a gate there anyway, so that's good. All right, catalyst missing. Yep, well aware. So first thing this needs is power. You know what? I wanted to have the power flow visualized, right? So I'm going to leave that open because I'm probably going to want to connect into there. Cool. So now you're going to get power. Hooray! Nice. Isn't that cool? And so we need a catalyst and one of the crystals. So here's the deal, right? A crystal is used to help focus the laser, but it's going to eventually burn out. And the duration of the crystal is based on the crystal's strength mechanics. So the more strength that a crystal has, the better. Okay? And now we need to do lens and laser, we're going to need to do the catalyst. So the catalyst is a tricky part, right? So the laser needs power, spent or unspent crystals. Finally, you also need some kind of catalyst. Emerald, diamond, redstone, glowstone, etc., etc. I don't think it lists. The following catalysts are supported. Okay, diamond, emerald, ender pearl, redstone, gunpowder, glowstone, all these things. Goodness gracious. Oh, nether star, huh? Gas tier, slime ball, coal. Okay. You can see what bonuses these do with the GUI. So let's take a look. I'm going to get one of each of those and be right back. All right, so here's how it works. Let's see. If I put the catalyst into the machine, you can see what changes when you use this catalyst. So for example, if we put a gas tier in, we'll lose 20 purity, okay? Oh yeah, losing 20 purity. And we'll gain 25 strength and 15 efficiency, okay? Coal is purity minus 1% and strength minus 10% and efficiency none. So that I don't understand why you would ever use that. That makes no sense to me. Slime ball, just efficiency minus 10%. Okay, these numbers are not helpful. All right, so nether quartz minus 1 purity plus 7 efficiency with a cap of 80. So the best efficiency you can get with nether quartz is 80, right? Blaze powder is pretty good. Minus 6 purity plus strength and efficiency. Minus 2, more strength than efficiency. Minus 5, more strength than efficiency. That's cool. Redstone is just strength. Ender pearl is, ooh, more purity. That's cool. So if we use ender pearls, we can get the purity up to 100%, which is something we're going to want to do, right? Ooh, purity 8%. Nice. That's cool. And diamond, purity 5%. Very cool. So that's how it works, right? So remember, your liquids down here have those metrics, right? So typically it looks to me, and I don't know what a nether star does, but I imagine it's something very powerful and awesome, right? That would be logical, I would think. Let's do this. Let's put away you for the time being. I just want to see what it is. It's not really going to use it. Don't yell at me for cheating. Minus 60% purity plus 90% strength and efficiency. So that's awesome, right? So we could just literally one-time use nether star. Boom, it gets your... literally it goes plus 90, right? So that gives you 100% strength and efficiency. It drops your purity down back to 25%, but you can easily get that back up, right? So if we had a nether star, that would be cool. Otherwise, we're going to have to use lots of different things. So a couple things we're going to want to keep an eye on, though, is if your purity ever drops below 0, that's bad. Let's see, lens and laser. It should say that in here somewhere. Be careful, though. The laser does not test if the tank actually has enough liquid in it, and if the liquid is actually valid liquid that can be infused. So be careful not to waste precious materials here. Warning, make sure you don't infuse purity below 0%, as that will destroy a lot of the liquid. Bad times will be had. So what we should probably be doing is purifying the liquid to 85%, pumping it into here, throwing a couple catalysts at it, adjusting the stats, and then pumping it back into the tank up here to be purified again to 85% before we do any more manipulation. So I'm thinking about how I want to do this. So I know that strength is the most important feature for this laser, because I'm going to put a thing in here, right? And oh, hello. Okay, cool. All right, well, that put some stuff in. Neat. Okay, cool. So that just destroys the laser, and based on the strength percent, that's how much of this blue bar fills up, right? So see how like a small amount filled up? Gotcha. Okay, so let's do, I'm just gonna throw, these are the junky ones that I found underground. So let's get a nice strength crystal going in here, right? So which one had strength really well? Gas tier. I'm not gonna use gas tiers because I literally only have one. So that's minus 10% strength, so that's not good. That's just minus 10% efficiency. So coal and slime ball, like, get out of here. I don't even want any part of you. I just have a chest. So those I'm definitely not going to use. Nether quartz is more efficiency. Blaze powder is a bit of both. Glowstone and gunpowder are all a bit of both. Okay. Redstone is all strength. So I could probably just use redstone for this, right? Yeah. And diamond and emerald are purity. And this is purity. Okay, cool. So that's strength. That's efficiency. And these three are a bit of both. Cool. Just different numbers. Okay. Nice. So let's go redstone with it. Cool. So first thing I'm going to do is set up a piping system. This is going to be blue for the output. We're going to want one of you and some gold. And this will be orange. And let me go make a couple gates. I think I might need a few more autarkics than I have, and we'll be right back. All right, so I forget if this needs a redstone signal to activate or not, but we're gonna find that out in about a second. Let's put our autarkic gate here, and we're basically just gonna say, well, let's do redstone signal on equals energy pulse. Cool, because we're probably gonna wanna turn this on and off as needed. And there we have a bunch of levers as we need. So that should start pumping the liquid crystal. That should be orange. That should be blue. Nice. Cool. So the crystal's in there, purity 85, strength 10. I'm going to let it all go. For now, I'm going to make sure that this laser is manually maintained because I don't want to destroy any liquid. But at some point, we might automate it because we can do a valve to say if the purity gets below, like, 20%, filter it back over to here. But eventually, we'll probably want to just, for now, make this a manual operation. So it'll be something like this to repurify it. Cool. Something like that. Should work. Yeah, it should be fine. And we can do the same thing over here, right? We'll put the lever. This doesn't have to be on the same side as the lever, but redstone signal on equals energy. Cool. And so that's good. So let's get the laser going, shall we? So we want to make more strength, right? For now. Let's toss that in and see what happens. This may, like I said, need a lever. Oh, nice. Okay, cool. Well, that was quick. Neat. So that went up. So the purity went down 0.1 and strength went up 0.4. Cool. Let's put like half a stack in there and see what happens. That's not bad. I feel like I'm going to want a whole stack in there. And remember, the strength determines the maximum amount of RF that you get out. So if we were to come over here and look at these numbers, right? The power left percentage, right? So the total amount of RF that you get out of a single crystal is determined by strength. The efficiency determines the RF per tick. I don't think I need any more efficiency than I currently have. So yeah, I'm thinking strength might be good. And I'm debating how I want to do this. So this is already up to 20% strength, 83% purity. That's cool. We're definitely using up some of this number here. So we're going to need more crystal. By the way, you can use empty crystals. So once that's completely drained of power, we can use that in this machine here. It's basically the way to recycle dead crystals. My concern at this point is whether or not I'm going to actually have enough to get this guy up to a decent strength level. That's kind of the reason I'm doing this, is I think I want to use this one, and I wouldn't mind getting the purity to 100%, and then what I might do is if I can get purity to 100%, swap out this crystal with the new 100% pure crystal, and I'm kind of curious to see, A, if we'll have any radiation, but if we do, it'll definitely be less than the 85% pure, so I'll probably wind up using this crystal over here as a new catalyst for this, or maybe just hang on to it for later or something. But for now, let's get the strength up. And I'm probably going to need more redstone. So we'll be right back. Blink. All right, guys, we're back. So my strength is approaching the limit to what redstone can supply, aka a cap of 60. And it looks like it took about 2 full stacks of redstone to get there. Maybe it'll be a little bit more than 2 full stacks. I think I had a stack, and now it's at 59.1. So let's just put another half stack in there until we get to 60. That sound cool? Oh, we're out of this stuff too. Heavens. All right, well, that's good to know. So that's strength of 60. That's the best strength we can get at the moment with that. And my concern is that we're also out of this raw crystal stuff. Sounds like my generator just kicked on, which means we probably have a little radiation out here. Not terrible, but definitely a little bit. That's so cool. Cool. Yeah, that guy just bumped himself back up to 2 million. So that's good. We've got 60% strength. Now my question is, do I want to crystallize this and use it in here to make an even better crystal for generating power with? My answer to that is yes, probably. Really, you should be using empty crystals, because at the end of the day, it's a waste of resonating ore, but that's okay. Exactly how much of this stuff equals a crystal? That's kind of something I forget at the moment. Let me clean up my inventory, and we're going to turn this into a crystal and see where it leaves us. All right, so let's get this guy crystallized, right? And then I'm gonna put it in here, hopefully get a bunch of the blue line, and then we're gonna melt another batch to make 100% pure and as high a strength level as I can get on it. That's kind of my plan. Efficiency, maybe I'll throw a little efficiency on there, just to have a slightly higher RF per tick ratio, but at 1700 at a base, I don't know that I need too much efficiency just yet. So let's get our basic gate on here. We're gonna do the same thing, redstone signal on equals energy pulsar. We'll get the lever on and go. And like I said, I'm not super sure how much liquid crystal is used to make the crystals, so we'll find that out pretty quickly, I suspect. Oh cool, you're already running. Okay, nice. I forgot. You don't need a redstone signal to run, do you? So there was 6,000 in there before. Let's get a little bit more out of there. All right, let's see how much that gets us. That's about 3,000. So when we got to 3,000, we were right about 50%. So I think 6,000 is exactly one crystal's worth, which is cool. All right, so if I'm right, this thing's almost empty, which means we're almost done. And I just want to make sure that we get to 100% with the exactly 6,000 liquid that I had. And that'll definitely help me understand some of the math behind this mod. So with 300 left, we're at 95%. So that's a good sign that I'm pretty right. So 100 left, 98%, 99, 100. Nice. Cool. And look at that. The exact stats that we were looking for. So that's 0% now. We haven't added any more liquid. So let's put that crystal, which is a pretty nice crystal. So I feel bad wasting it. But I really want... I can go find more resonating ore, really, is what it comes down to. And by the way, let's turn this off for a minute. I just want to make sure, but I think it's 200 millibuckets per resonating ore. So that's 30 resonating ore equals 1 crystal. That's not terrible. It's a lot, because resonating ore is relatively hard to find, but I'll be all right. So yeah, 200 millibuckets, right? So we're going to want 29 more in there. So let's get this filtering. So I'm going to allow you to export again. This will get the filtering system going, right? The filter material and all that good stuff. Also, I set a limit on 6,000 millibuckets. So basically, if this thing has 6,000 millibuckets in it, or the exact amount to make a crystal, it won't filter any more purified liquid into the bottom. So this will stay purified. That's kind of a neat trick, I thought. We'll see though. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it that way. Cool. Let's let this cook down, and that should wind up with a decent amount of relatively pure. I don't want you going into there. What are you doing bouncing back that path? Yeah, I should probably put an iron thing there. Let's do that. Probably gonna want... Let's just turn off the redstone signal for a minute. Get an iron pipe. Put you on it. I had a feeling that might be a problem. It's okay. Where's my wrench? That will stop liquid flowing through the pipe, which is pretty much what I want. I'm probably gonna have to wait until all the liquid has filtered out of here. So let's turn that off altogether. And we'll come back in a minute once this is done bouncing around. All right, so we'll do an iron fluid pipe here with the output set to that side. Nice. And then we can redstone signal this dude again. He should start pumping out of here. So there's 4,000 in there at the moment. That'll be cool. Nice. And now he should only be allowed into here. Perfect. Let's get this purified to 85%. All right, guys, we've got 6,000 of 85% pure. So let's filter this in to here. Cool. And I'm going to start getting it up to the high strength level that we want. Now, while this is running, let's turn the laser on, and I'm going to put the high strength. Oh, yeah, that has a lot of strength power in it. Nice. Okay, while that's running, let's do this. I want to rearrange this setup because I was just informed of a mechanic that I wasn't aware of, and I want to change this up a bit. So to fix this, I'm going to move you. So remember that tanks can be multi-blocks, and they were actually a little bit buggy in the past, but now they've been fixed. So I can also attribute me not using this feature before to the fact that they were a little bit buggy. But let's move this thing. I want to move the valve, the tank, and this tank. And I'm going to put another tank here. So this should be a multi-block tank now. So any liquid that goes in here, so see how it says 4,800 instead of 1,600? So these tanks, they will share and act as a multi-block. Now the purifier can actually purify and return the liquid to the top tank if there's no bottom tank available. So what I think I'm going to do is, not the tank, but the filter, or the valve block, I'm going to put here. That retains all its settings. See, that's going to multi-block share. I don't know that I want that. So let's swap these. I'm going to put the valve here. And where'd my filter go? There it is. Purifier there. And then we're going to put a tank here. And we should no longer need this setup. Cool. So what this should do now is the purifier will, so the smelter will put liquid into the tank, the purifier will purify it and return it to the top tank, and then the valve will automatically output to the bottom once whatever's in the top tank reaches 85% purity. That should be awesome. So slightly less complex of a build than we had to do, which is cool. Now here I'm going to put the autarkic gate back, and we're going to say redstone signal, energy pulse. And we're basically going to want to, you know, have a lever here or something that activates that thing. That should be fine. Cool. So if we put a lever here, wherever I have a lever, probably on the ground somewhere because my inventory is super full. Let's smelt some of this. And what else can I get rid of at the moment? More redstone maybe? Catalyst missing. Yes, cool. So that is at strength of 40%. I didn't get quite as much of this blue line as I had hoped I would, but I might recycle the crystal that I have in the other room to get more. We'll see. But for now, we're doing okay. We still got like 3,000 of it, so that's nice. So where did my lever go? There it is. So this here. So basically what this system should do, like I said, purifier will purify the liquid in the tank right up to 85%, and then this will put up to 6 millibuckets, or 6,000 millibuckets, right? So 6 buckets worth. That should be cool. Okay. So how's our strength level? How's this thing? Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. All right, back in a sec. All right, so let's re-purify this liquid. right? And what this should do... Oh, I thought this would be all right if it was on the opposite side, but I guess not. So, redstone signal, energy pulsar. Oh, right, that's probably why. That needs to be on orange mode. Now we're talking. Cool. So this should... So see how it went to 200%? So it dropped down a little bit, and now the purity should spike up. So see how the purity is going up? Cool. So then once the purity reaches 85, it should drop directly into the tank. And this is not running at the moment, so that's cool. I might need to double check that this tank is set to provide. Good deal. Nice. So that is currently at 5,800 because whatever's in here is being worked on, right? So purity 76, 5,800, purity 76.3. So it's filtering 200 millibuckets at a time. And it's just adding it right back to the tank and then mixing it back together. So that's pretty cool. Back in a sec when it's at 85. All right, guys, just got back from a little bit of mining, and hence why this is running. And yeah, I wanted to get more resonating ore because, oh good, this thing did filter down. Purity 84.1%. Cool. All right, I'm gonna have to mention something about that. I wonder if I can put decimals in this thing. I guess we'll find out. Nope, that didn't look like it was happy. Oh, that's not what I want to do. Okay, so I got it to 85%. For now, am I missing 200 somewhere? It's weird. No, there it is. Okay, 6,000. Cool. So for now, what I had to do was set it to 85%, and then it stayed stuck in the top, and then switch it back to 84%. And I just piped it out of the bottom into the top to make that filter work. But just talked to McJady, and he said that he's fixing it so that in the next version, the purifier can go up to 85.1%, so that in the future, it'll go to 85% and then filter down, and we won't have to mess with that. So that's just a neat little fix. Hey, this is testing. That's what we do. All right. Haven't entirely decided what I want to do next. So I did get some more resonating ore. I don't have enough really in here to get this thing super efficiently good. What does gunpowder do again? In this dude. So that's a cap strength of 70 and efficiency 4. So I'm thinking what I might want to do is do this again, as crazy as that sounds, as much as I really don't want to do it again. And here's why. I'm thinking that I was getting strength of +5, right? If I used gunpowder, I'd get strength of +8 and efficiency of +4. That's probably better to use than redstone, right? Nether quartz just gives you more of that. That's 6 and 3, so that's not as good as gunpowder. Neither of these are as good as gunpowder. This is just purity, and this is purity of 8, and this is purity of 5. That's probably what I'll wind up using. And this is strength of 5 and 5, but this is 8 and 4. So I think strength is more important to me than efficiency. So I think what I'll do... See, I don't even know if I want efficiency that high, because what I've got going on here is pretty high as it is, right? It's 1705 RF a tick. Like, I don't need anywhere near that, really. Hunger. Yeah, the reactor was just running. But I'd really like to get it a little bit more pure if I can. So what I could do, if I really wanted to be good about it, is take that crystal, throw it in here, and then use whatever levels we get to make it that much more pure. And I did confirm with McJady, by the way, if you get your purity to 100%, it will release 0 radiation. So on one side, this room's not really necessary anymore, but on the other side, I don't know that I'm going to be able to get it to 100% that easily. So I'm just going to purify it as best I can, right? So yes, we're wasting energy by doing this, because there's a lot of energy left in this crystal, but there'll be even more in the crystal we're about to make. So let's drain this tank into here and get this thing even more pure. Good plan? I wouldn't mind a little bit more strength, but let's see. Oh, you're on. That's why. Turn you off. One of these days I'll pay a little bit more attention to what I'm doing with the redstone levers. As long as it doesn't go into here. I should probably, like, disconnect that. But we are close to wrapping up, too. So I might come back to see how this crystal turns out next episode and kind of leave you guys in some suspense. Sounds evil. I think I'll do it. So yeah, let's come back next episode. I will try and get my purity to a decent level. Let's see what kind of blue line we get from this guy. Boom. Not a whole lot. 2,800. Not bad, but not great. So that probably won't get me too far in operations. What I might wind up doing is throwing... Let's see. Diamond is what now? 5%? Cool. I should probably turn this off. But that got my purity up to... That's pretty good. 85.4. So maybe I'll throw a little bit of gunpowder in, right? Blink. Gunpowder. Let's throw like... I really have to get a door to like my base. Let's throw like this much in. How much did that use? 2750? So it really only uses about 50 per operation, right? That's not bad. So how's this going with strength-wise? Nice, and a little bit more efficiency. That's not bad at all. So maybe I'll save the last 2,000 of the crystal for a purification level. Now we're losing purity quickly, but I'm going to filter that back to here. And then I will come back next episode. We'll use diamonds to purify it and see how that goes. So 2,000, that's what I want to stop at. Nice. Okay. So that's where we're going to stop. So that will be a 66% strength and a 15% efficiency. Let's get this more purified. And we will come back next episode to play with this. So for now, Direwolf20 signing off. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. We will come back next time. All right, take it easy.